Fox 17 is telling your stories tonight with the help of veteran reporter Dennis Ferrier. We begin with a hard look at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation after a man is shot to death in his own home in Waverly. His wife is accused, but this case never goes to a jury. Fox 17's Dennis Ferrier explains why her own attorney is blaming investigators.
Your Honor, the state bears the burden of proof, and they've not put on any proof.
Public defender Jake Lockhart has argued as a prosecutor and a public defender for 30 years, 4 counties, lots of cases.
Just to be clear.
But tonight he is arguing something very different, unprecedented. His case is against the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. He says they made big mistakes in big cases. Mistakes, he says, helped his clients get off with lesser charges.
I attribute to an overall level that I've seen. The level of expertise in the TBI has gone down.
December 2012, Morris Long is charged with killing his wife with a hammer. He confesses, case closed, but there's a mistake. The judge throws out 2 signed confessions because the TBI failed to give Miranda rights, specifically the right to have an attorney present.
And because of either their arrogance, ignorance, or a combination, they did not advise this suspect of his rights, and the confession was kicked out.
The TBI says this was not black and white.
Our agent did not believe he was in custody. Our agent made that argument on the stand in this particular case. The judge disagreed. That happens from time to time.
Morris Long's case ended up going to trial, where he was found guilty of killing his wife without the benefit of the confessions. In another case, 69-year-old Thomas Halliburton was shot in the face and killed in his Waverly home. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation charges his wife, Linda, with the murder. She says she just woke up to gunshots. The TBI arrests Linda Halliburton for first-degree murder. But the public defender's office wasn't so sure, so they investigate themselves and now say the TBI was hasty. First, they say they discovered the TBI failed to recover an entire bullet lodged in the wall. The defense says they showed Mrs. Halliburton was too short for the trajectory of one of the shots. The TBI says they got the part of the bullet important for ballistics and that the lead part of the bullet had no investigative value. Lockhart also says the TBI crime scene photos were tainted. The proof? The murder scene was supposed to be secure, untouched until the TBI photographed the crime scene. But look at this TBI photo. Here's another photo in the same untouched scene. Notice something? One photo has an extra phone. How did that happen?
Through cross-examination using photographs, we were able to show that from crime scene photographs that things like phones were moved around and that it was not secure.
And it's not uncommon in the process of evidence actually being collected that things get moved.
But perhaps the biggest complaint is that the TBI did not use audio or video to record statements in the murder case. The agent wrote down statements and, according to Lockhart, did not develop another suspect in the case. A caretaker was about to be kicked out of the home who admitted to handling the gun, who the TBI agent admitted would have been a suspect if he had known that about her and more.
Would that not concern you greatly if she said her fingerprints could have been on that 357 Magnum?
It would concern me, but she never said that to me.
Or if she did say that, would you then be bringing her in your mind, would that not indicate to you that she's a stronger suspect than you previously believed?
And she said that, yes, that made her a stronger suspect than I previously believed.
In the end, the first-degree murder case against Linda Halliburton deteriorates.
Because of those factors, the state realized that the TBI had botched this case so badly and that their case was going south so quickly that they went ahead and offered a lesser-included plea of manslaughter and probation.
You heard right. Halliburton charged murder 1. Ends up released on probation.
The defense attorney himself was the one who offered the plea in the middle of the trial. It was agreed to by the district attorney general and accepted by the court. And any sort of questions as to the logic or the rationale for that need to be addressed to the district attorney general.
We need to point out only a DA can offer a plea deal. A defense attorney can suggest one, but only a DA can offer one, and this was when few defense attorneys would refuse. Remember last night, public defender Lockhart lays out his case that the TBI was responsible for 2 first-degree murder charges being reduced to 10 years at 30%. Parole eligible after just 3 years. We did want to point out that while Jeffrey Johnson was eligible, he was denied parole and ended up serving 8 years in jail. He is now a free man. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News.
A similar complaint tonight in the Holly Bobo murder investigation. A group of private investigators gets involved to help the Bobo family. And the members of this group tell us they were punished for it. Tonight, those detectives tell their story of being threatened, bullied, and demeaned by the TBI. Fox 17's Dennis Ferrier now with a story of these detectives, one they have never told before.
The TBI came down so hard on this not-for-profit group of private investigators, they felt they couldn't even defend themselves. But now they feel it's time for you to hear their story. They accuse the TBI of bullying, intimidation, and abuse. The Holly Bobo case was ice cold. 18 months after her disappearance, a desperate Karen Bobo contacted a Nashville private investigator named Sheila Wysocki. Wysocki made national news for solving her college roommate's cold case murder 20 years after it happened. Karen Bobo saw her on television and asked her to help with the case. Wysocki and her not-for-profit Without Warning came to the Bobos' house and collected everything the Bobos had gathered since the disappearance. An incredible amount of tips, handwritten notes, interviews the Bobos had conducted, and social media posts.
We were paid nothing. Not one of us was paid a dime. It actually cost us money to work on the case.
Then why'd you do it?
To help a mom. If I were in that situation, I would want someone to help me. And I knew I had the best people that could help her.
2 private eyes, 2 former homicide detectives, and a paralegal. And by Halloween of 2012, they already had a prime suspect. Here's that email. Shane Austin. Beatty agreed, noting that his friends, Dylan Adams, Jason Autry, and Zach Adams, may have also been involved.
It was really clear that I said if one of these guys did it, they all did it because they were each other's alibis. And I thought that was just, from a layperson standpoint, that was very obvious.
By April of 2013, the group of super sleuths had the A-Gang, Austin, Adams, and Autry as their main suspects. They had a ping map of Holly's cell phone locations the day she disappeared and an evidence map. And they had something else, advice from famous kidnapping victim Elizabeth Smart's father, Ed, who told the Bobos, keep the story in the media and no tip is too small. So that's when the detectives and the Bobos decided to go on television and talk about the evidence they had gathered. They shared theories, recreated the abduction, even drove parts of the ping map, all with the idea that maybe someone would come forward with information that would help find Holly.
These were simply our theories. We volunteered our time just to help a family.
And what happened?
I believe we were stomped as hard as anybody has ever been stomped. They wanted us to go away and shut up. And they did a good job. I mean, they stomped hard. Stomped
by the TBI. First, the TBI attacked them in the media. Without Warning did not conduct investigation to law enforcement standards. The erroneous television reports have led to false leads, public concern, and have wasted valuable state resources, said TBI Director Mark Wynn. Harmful to the case, misleading, detrimental. But now we know on the very day of the press release, the TBI was lost. The TBI lead investigator believed Terry Britt abducted Holly. They had stopped investigating the A-Gang.
I was wasting my time.
Wasting your time doing what?
Investigating these idiots.
And then the TBI admits the magnitude of that error.
Was it a mistake?
Yes, it was a mistake.
Was it a bad mistake?
Yes, sir.
Is it 3 years later you figure out how bad it was?
Yeah, that's right.
Think about this for a moment. The TBI didn't even check the alibis of the A-Gang, while the private investigators have the A-Gang on the top of their suspect list.
Right. It is very profound to look back and see that we were on the right track.
The TBI was through investigating the A-Gang, but they weren't through investigating Without Warning. They got judicial subpoenas, sent men to Wysocki's home, and interrogated her.
They were intimidating me. They were threatening me. They were aggressive.
All for information the detectives say they volunteered to give the TBI before ever going on television. Wysocki says she spent thousands on a defense attorney, worried she was going to jail. She says they subpoenaed her Google account and got all of her emails, including personal emails, to her family and attorney. Humiliating and expensive for a woman who just wanted to help.
I will not do a case like this again. And I try not to work in Tennessee because I was threatened. One of the things I was told is don't speed. Are you kidding me? I'm a law-abiding person helping a family, and I'm told not to speed. That's a little over the edge.
And not the only story of bullying in the Holly Bobo case. Remember ginseng hunter Larry Stone? He found Holly's skull. The bullet hole in the skull corroborated Jason Autry's story. This was a huge break in the case. But Stone says the TBI treated him poorly when he discovered Holly's remains.
Then the officer looks at me and asked me why I was out looking for Holly Bobo. And I said, well, I didn't know they'd call a search. He said, ain't nobody supposed to be looking for Holly Bobo. And I said, whoa. I said, if this was my kid or your kid, you'd be out here looking for it, wouldn't you?
Another private citizen just trying to help in a case that obviously needed a lot of help.
I think it's the scariest thing to have that kind of power to say that they were going to throw me in jail and to know that they could do it with nobody looking over them.
The TBI decided not to do an interview or answer any of our questions. I can tell you this, I was the reporter who did the story 4 years ago, and these volunteers had the 4 charged killers at the top of the list of suspects. What they want now are public hearings on how they were treated by the TBI. They don't want this to happen to any law-abiding Tennessean ever again. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News.
Just ahead, renting a grandfather, the strange request from a little girl creating a connection that will last a lifetime. Plus, a new perspective, the technology helping colorblind Tennesseans really experience fall for the first time. And a man with cerebral palsy being hailed as a hero, how he saved his nurse's life. Kind of matchmaking after a 3-year-old girl tells her mom she wants a pawpaw. Her mom doesn't flinch, asking for a grandfather on Hip Bellevue's Facebook page. Fox 17's Dennis Ferrier shows us how this remarkable request is followed by a magical answer.
If you really want something nowadays, you have Craigslist and eBay and all kinds of classified ads. But a pawpaw? That would take a miracle.
1, 2, 3, go! Woo!
3-year-old Adeline is on the go. And like all 3-year-olds, if she wants something, she'll ask.
1, 2, 3, go!
But no one, not even her mom, could expect her recent request.
You did it!
She wanted a pawpaw.
I think as a parent, you want your kids to have everything.
And so Elizabeth put a note on Hip Bellevue.
You want your kids to grow up understanding the value of a grandpa.
John Pugh, executive director of the lodge at Natchez Trace, saw it and had an idea.
I guess that's something for the resume. I don't know. I'm a pawpaw matchmaker.
Here we come. Here we come.
93-year-old James Luna, a former teacher and World War II vet.
Pull it right through.
Confined to a wheelchair.
Very good, very good. Yay.
Only in body.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Mr. Luna loved the idea. Even more, he was touched.
And I'm honored that I could take another member of my family. And I'm going to spoil a little girl. Come here, come here, come here. Hey, come here, dear. Oh, hey, Mama.
This is their second meeting. As you can see, they've hit it off.
I made the meeting happen, and the rest is personal, one-on-one contact. It's sitting in a lap. It's patting a back. It's holding a hand. It's communicating eye to eye.
Thank you for letting me be your papa.
Thank you for being my papa.
3-year-old to 93-year-old, and creating something absolutely magical that no technology or internet can do.
Who is that? Papa.
Papa.
Mr. Luna is of the generation that takes these kinds of things seriously.
I'm her new papa.
And although he's definitely showering her with gifts,
I picked this up for you.
He has also written out both bedtime and mealtime prayers for Adeline.
Okie dokie.
He will also share his wisdom at their Wednesday meetings.
I have learned that this is a day to have a good day. Give me a kiss.
Love you. Love you.
And I've learned that if your attitude is bad, it's like a flat tire. Fix it. I do that here. That's good.
The funny thing is, John Pugh has now received more requests for pawpaws. He says, bring them on. We have plenty. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News.
Oh, that is so sweet. Straight ahead, celebrating a hometown hero, how a man with cerebral palsy saves his nurse's life. As we continue tonight's Ferrier Files, a story of an unlikely hero. Unlikely because it's a Nashville teenager who needs 24-hour-a-day care, 7 days a week. Fox 17's Dennis Ferrier shows us why his nurse is calling him her Superman.
Everybody loves a hero story, but aren't they even better when the hero is so unlikely?
You know I ain't finna let you beat me.
This is an RHA Health Services home. It's where people with disabilities get better.
They're red.
Katina Cowan is here to help Rocky transition to assisted living. But last week, the tables turned when Katina started choking on a chicken wing.
I'm coming out the room and I look to my right and I see Rocky taking off running towards Katina.
Right out of the wheelchair before anyone else could move.
But Rocky already had me tight. It was patting me, telling me to cough, cough. And I was trying to cough it, and finally just loosened up.
Rocky doesn't talk much, it's a struggle. But in the moment, he had the right words.
Cough, 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 cough.
And somehow the ability to perform the Heimlich maneuver with his one good arm. So perfectly, the chicken wing flew out of Katina Cowan's windpipe.
Good job.
Everyone here is surprised that Rocky could do such a thing, but not Dad, Hickman County Sheriff's Deputy Ken Darren.
He doesn't let his disability stop him. He tries to do everything like anyone else. He's a regular teenage boy like anyone else. His heart, it's like a lion. He has a heart of a lion.
How did you know how to do this, Rocky? You too. Katina bought these matching Superman shirts. She already loved the teenager with the big smile, but now, well, of course.
Superhero. Superman.
Rocky was injured at birth. His mom says his scalp detached when a doctor was pulling him out with a vacuum. It's been one complication after another for 19 years. Now he's a senior at Antioch High School. He's not well known there, but he is a big man on campus here.
He can contribute to society just like anyone else. He might have a few hurdles. It might be a little bit slower, a little bit more difficult for him to do all this, yet he validates himself by that action that he did. And that's important to him to know that. Good job, Rocky. Thank you. I love you for that.
No.
He doesn't have much to say, but you can see he is proud. The smile's huge. He sits a little closer to Katina, too.
So we're going to go to the park.
And for the first time ever, tells her what to do.
He told me I couldn't order chicken. No. But you ordered chicken.
Rocky was named after Rocky Balboa because his parents knew instantly he would have to fight just to live. Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News.
Just ahead, a new perspective, the emotional reaction as colorblind people see Tennessee's fall colors for the first time.